Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the second edition of PGMT's World Green Building Week 2021, a week-long celebration from 20th to 24th September, along with Indian Green Building Council and in association with IEM, Kolkata, and other esteemed architecture and engineering universities pan-India. My warm welcome to the dignitaries, Ms. Payal Jain, Professor Tapas Kumar Datta, Professor Gunjan Kumar, and Mr. Ashu Gupta. This week witnesses our long and strong commitment in adapting and advocating creation of green built environment and encouraging a nature responsive quality lifestyle. Today, on day 4 of the week of the web learning series dedicated to the World Green Building Week cause, we have gathered here for another insightful session from industry leaders and pioneers. PGMT, Prem Jain Memorial Trust, was founded in the loving memory of Dr. Prem Jain sir. Dubbed as the father of green building movement in India, PGMT focuses on sustainability through education, identifying future leaders who can catalyze global development. Now, I would like to take this privilege of inviting Payal Jain ma'am, our founder trustee of PGMT and crusader for environment, whose passion lies in inspiring the next generation to create a greener earth. Over to you, ma'am, now.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vishesh. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm looking forward to a wonderful session. This is our second season of the World Green Building Week celebration. And we've got some wonderful speakers. This is day 4. So we are hoping you'll stay tuned with us. And these sessions are curated specially for students, keeping in mind that they can interact with industry leaders. So we have some amazing speakers here today. And Vishesh is our green ambassador. And he started with us 2 years ago. I'm hoping many of the students who are going to be watching today would like to become green ambassadors and join PJMT on this crusade. I want to thank Ashu, Tapasji, Mr. Gunjan Kumar, all of you for being here today. Thank you very much. I won't take any more time. Looking forward to a lovely session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Probably we'll discuss more about the buddy program, the PGMT's buddy program, where we'll be adding more GS to the our family, PGMT family. That we'll cater on to the end of the session. That would be nice. So now it would be nice if we can follow up with the next part. And it would be, I would love to invite Professor Tapas Kumar Datta, Head of Electrical Engineering Department, Institute of Engineering and Management, Kolkata, to address the students now.
Thank you, Visheshji. I am glad to find that Prem Jain Memorial Trust, PGMT, World Green Building Week 2021 are being celebrated in association with Indian Green Building Council of India and our Institute of Engineering and Management. You all know by this time, Prem Jain Memorial Trust is propagating the importance of sustainability through education, recognition, and nurturing present and future generation. We are happy to be a part of such noble cause. To me, sustainability means to meet the need of the present generation without compromising the need of future generation. There are 17 goals, of sustainable development set by UNESCO, containing global warming and provisioning affordable power, especially through renewable energy resources, are part of them. As you know, buildings are places where almost all human activities take place. Use of energy in the building and for the construction of the building contribute largely in producing greenhouse gases and global warming. Although technology of greenhouse buildings are constantly evolving, It mainly focuses in efficient use of energy, water, and other resources, protecting the occupants' health and improving the productivity, and reducing waste, pollution, and environmental degradation. As a part of PGMT World Green Building Week, we are fortunate to have Mr. Ashu Gupta, co-founder, Design to Occupancy Services, to enlighten us on the topic building resilience for climate, people, and economics. Mr. Ashu Gupta is associated with us in the different activities of ISRE at IEM, Institute of Engineering and Management. But let me give a little introduction. All of us know him, but I would like to tell that Mr. Gupta's career spans across several diverse domains. He commenced his career as mechanical engineer in 2008. Now he is a managing partner of Design to Occupancy Services and active volunteers in various building engineering societies. He loves to share knowledge, and he has trained more than 8,000 architects, engineers, consultants, and government officials about energy conservation. As a recognition of this great service, he received Rajasthan Energy Conservation Award for contribution to state energy conservation effort in individual category. He is nominated at ASHRAE Young Face of Engineers in the winter of 2013. He received Uttar Pradesh Energy Conservation Award also. And you will be glad to know that Mr. Ashu Gupta, along with Mr. Ashish Kumar Jain, a thought leader of sustainable development, will be your jury for our competition of designing green building, which we have given to our members of ISRE Students Chapter. So with this introduction, I would like Mr. Ashu Gupta to take over and enlighten us with this talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Tapasda, I think, for kind introduction. And IEM college is not new for me. Of course, I'm connected with that. And I always love to interact with the very energetic people, I would say, energetic young students from this college, from the different branches I have seen, and I have seen in different other jury members on different platforms like in ISRE and ASHRE. So today, of course, we are celebrating the World Green Building Week. And the PJMT, when we talk about, because Prem Jain sir was actually the father of the green building industry. Whoever is working in the green building, he or she must have interacted with the Dr. Prem Jain sir in earlier those days. So I think it is my pleasure always to be part of this organization, to present myself and my experience, which I'm going to share in next 45 minutes with you, all of you. And I would be more happy to interact with you in the later once my presentation is done, because today's topic is not a new. This is the theme of World Green Building Council in all over the world, the building resilience. Some word might be the new for you, but it is not the new one. Entire world right now talking after the COVID situation, entire world is talking about resiliency, because the green building and all this thing actually is part of the resilience. So I will talk on more detail and what are the sustainable development goals by the United Nations, which already one conference is going on in US these days. Already our Prime Minister has been there, and that is also talking about the climate change and the United Nations goals. In November, there's a COP conference is coming up, which is also in the climate change in Glasgow. So entire world on these 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, major hot topic it is right now, the climate change, and how the building is related to the climate change, how we as an engineer or the architect are related to the climate change and how this is our career direction. And that is something I'm going to talk about it, because a lot of people, when we graduate from the college, we do not hear these names. Because when I graduated 13 years back, someone asked me that what is green building, I always feel the more landscaping is a green building, or the green color building kind of green building. Is a 13 years back. And still when I do interview with some people, when I ask what is green building, the people doesn't have any idea. And I think students, you are fortunate because you are reading in this, you are studying in this college, and this college, during the college, you are getting the entire understanding of what the world is moving around. So that is something that, because the word, very technical words sometimes comes up and we do not able to recall, but we'll talk in these details. I'm just going to share my screen right now. All right, so I hope my screen is visible. Vishesh, can you just confirm me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So my introduction has been done. Of course, I am a president for Fire and Security Association of India as well, for the Rajasthan chapter. ISHRAE, very active volunteer in those organizations. ASHRAE, IAQA, and IGBC, everywhere, because I want that people, because as a student, I would encourage all of you to become a green ambassador, because I can see the wishes, the confidence he introduced me, or introduced entirely open, that this is the confidence as a student you can bring in you with these organizations only. So be active part of the organization is the college time. So that will help you. So now my topic is the building resilience. When we talk about the building resilience, building can contribute in the climate. Building is contributing to the people and the economies also. And resiliency, that how the building more resilient, because after the COVID we are talking how the country should be the resilience, how the economy will revive. Similarly, the resilience word, when we talk about reviving, how we can revive again. And that building is directly impacting on the climate, people, economies. And this presentation will talk about more. And this year, entire World Green Building Council is focusing on this theme only. So this is in line what we are talking about. So that is I'm going to explain today. So in this year of disruption, when we talk about 2020 and 2021 as well, we have seen the COVID pandemic, and pandemic has highlighting the opportunities also. Because before pandemic, I really wondered, organizations not talking about the net zero, organization were not talking about the climate crisis, organizing was not talking about the human health mostly. But after the pandemic, it gave us the opportunity in this area. Everyone is talking about climate crisis. Everyone is talking about the human health and equity. And that is something, and of course, it is the building resilience doesn't happen in a silo. It is a singular approach when we talk about it. So how it is related to that? Why building resiliency is important? First of all, please understand the buildings are responsible for 38% of the global energy related carbon emissions and the 50% of all extracted material. You can imagine 38% of global greenhouse gas emission, which is happening in the environment. The building is the area which is the maximum responsible. And you can see the impact in upcoming, because all of you are a young generation, because you're in early 20s. 4 billion people are vulnerable to the climate risk, and 91% worldwide live in the areas with the air pollution. I'll talk about it. By 2050, the building stock will be double in the worldwide. Whatever we seeing right now, the building in entire world, it will be double, because a lot of developing countries are making the huge development, and we are living in the developing country. India has a lot of construction going on, and this sector is significantly increasing, and we are asking for the natural resources. So demand of natural resources are accelerating the climate change and inefficient, unhealthy buildings also. So please guys understand, this area is increasing, but because we are a developing nation, we are doing pollution also. So we are doing pollution also, but we need to, how we can enhance our building design that the pollution can reduce sometime, or the energy efficiency or the green building when we talk about. And that is the reason building resiliency is very, very important in these days. So this is just a fact figure by the World Green Building Council that by 2050, the 1.6 billion urban dwellers will be the regularly exposed to extreme high temperature. I'm not sure how many people of you follow IPCC, UNFCCC on Twitter. Just United Nations Federation Climate Change Council. There's a recent IPCC report came up. This is only the 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it actually showing us a future, what is going on, which direction we are going on. The temperature outside, which we were thinking by 2080, it will be 4 degree or 5 degree centigrade will increase. Next, it will happen in the next 20 years. And that is the most alarming thing. Just imagine, like you are living in Calcutta, because mostly humidity is there. But if you come to the north part of India, where the temperature is already 48 or 50 degrees centigrade, if 4 or 5 degrees centigrade increases, how the people will able to survive? And that is something we need to look at that. Over 800 million people living in more than 570 cities, which is vulnerable to the sea level, like city called, you can see in Mumbai. Similarly, in Calcutta also, we have the coastal areas and the coastal areas, because I know, I'm sure you must doing that in your some 10 years, 20 years ago, you were not hearing the lot of news about the different earthquakes or different disasters are coming up, which I have seen in Calcutta. Especially whenever I go, I always stuck up 2 days there because of the flights get cancelled or something, like a lot of raining is happening. This was not very normal earlier, but it is every day we are facing this issue because of the climate change. And the world building stock will be double. So we'll talk about by 2050 is not too far. Already we are in 2021 now. So it's not too far. We will be there and we'll see this issue. So how sustainable building, resilience to the climate change. And that is something I want to highlight, guys. If you are not aware, the Sustainable Development Goals, which is called SDGs, and SDGs is an entire world under the United Nations are working towards this. And mostly the developing country or the developed country, everyone is talking about all these goals to mitigate or reduce that. So what we are working. So these are the climate and how building are related to that, because there are the 17 goals, but some goals are not, might be not related to building. So I want to highlight which goals are related to the building sector. So this is related to the climate change. The goal number 7, called the affordable and the clean energy. So when we talk about the sustainable building, when we talk about the energy efficiency, when we talk about the zero carbon building, zero carbon energy resources, this goal number 7 comes up, affordable and the clean energy. And that is the reason India is the country actually who made the International Solar Alliance, and our country is leading in renewable energy sector. So you can see the work in India, how the solar or the wind or the hydro is working in the direction. Earlier, of course, 13 years back, very few people who were working in the solar or making their career after the engineering. But this is something is the biggest bright future, entire world biggest companies. I'm sure you must be following the Reliance entered into the renewable energy, making a gigafactories in Jamnagar. Adani is already in this area, and several corporates, because recently the government also came up with the PLI scheme for renewable energy sector. They want the Make in India, and major companies should produce the solar panels in India. Right now, we were procuring from the different other countries, but they want to promote the local manufacturers in that, and a lot of big companies are coming up. Huge job opportunities in this sector in upcoming years. The goal number 13, the climate action. I think everyone is aware how we are working, and it is not the building, it is building, and then we talk about the sustainable cities also. And now the world is talking about decarbonization. There is a word called decarbonization. The building should have a zero carbon building, and that is something in future. You will see the building as a net zero energy, net zero water. Already the IGBC Green Building Council has launched the net zero energy, net zero water, and that is something of future where people are talking in that direction. The net zero energy means the building which we are constructing or the building which is operating, they are not used, they are generating their own energy at their level. And that is something the net zero. Imagine that if every building does the same, the first step is to make an energy efficient building. So the demand of energy can be reduced in a big way. So climate action is already related to the building resilience to climate change. Goal number 15, the life on land. Life on land, we have seen this problem that of course the cities are increasing in the area wise, and a lot of agricultural land is also converting. We are developing a buildings there. So, but we need to understand when we provide the life on land, a sustainable building, provide access to nature and everyone an enabled nature-based solution. And this has increased the biodiversity and ecosystem services. So life on land is also, when we design a building, we need to take care in that area. Similarly, So goal number 17, the partnership for the goals. This is also because it is not a one-way approach that one organization or one company can do entire thing. It is a partnership for the goals. Sustainable building and cities can be happen because of the different stakeholders like architects, government officers, city officials like mayor or the commissioners in that. And of course, the green building councils, of course, the people like us and an engineer, because when we talk about sustainability, it is the planet, people, economy. So sustainability word, when we talk about it, is not just the environment, it is a social, economic, and environment. And goal number 17 talks about it and building. And that's the reason our building, when we talk about building resilience to the climate change, how it is related to that. Now understand building resilience for people. And that is something because when we design or construct a building, that is for the humans who are living in that. 90% of our time we spent in indoor, either in the office building or our house building, or either in the car. Majorly the indoor we spent our lot of time on daily basis. And if our building is not for the people, then what is the role of that building? Because if we are living, we are spending our time, that is something we need to take care, and building directly related to the people health, because the people who are living in that building, it can be more sick if the building is not properly designed. And that's how the goal, sustainable goals comes up. The goal number 3, the good health and well-being. Everyone is focusing right now in sustainability. Of course, energy efficiency, water efficiency is very, very important part. But please understand, if we do not focus on the health, because jaan hai to jahan hai. And I think our Prime Minister also said this during the COVID, the jaan hai to jahan hai. That means if we are not in the good health condition, then what we will do. And that's the reason building, when we design a building, we need to take care, whoever the living, either it's an office building, the environment inside the building should be more sustainable, more promote human health, or productivity should increase. And that is the reason you can see now these IT companies, any corporate, they are making a green building. The reason the green building just not reduce the energy consumption, it increase the productivity of the employees also. The absence rate should be lower in the green building. And this is the studies, a lot of people has been proved during the PhD thesis, or some papers are written on that. So good health and well-being is one goal. The second, the clean water and sanitation, because when we design a building, we have to take care, our building should have a proper clean water and sanitation for the human, and how it is related to that. So goal number 7 also comes to the human, because it provides the energy efficiency, which is directly, or the clean energy, because it directly not doing the emission in the environment, reduction in that. Reduce inequalities. So reduce inequalities because a sustainable building protect human health and promote a decent standard of the living across the life cycle. Goal number 11 is a sustainable city. Sustainable cities can be happen if we make a sustainable building, or the sustainable citizen. In future, I think I was talking with my team also today morning. In future, we will see every person should be a sustainable. The person living style, person living health, everything should be in that way. The carbon emission, when we talk about the building, we should talk about the carbon emission on human, that how much they are consuming, how transportation they are using, and it will be like that in future. And that's the reason when we talk about a smart city, we need a smart citizen. When we talk about sustainable city, we need sustainable citizen and sustainable buildings in that. And that is how we are targeting. And of course, the goal number 17 will be applicable in all matter. the partnership. When we talk about the partnership, planet, people, and economies. Third, which is very also important as a developing nation, India, building resilience for economies. Because if our country is not economic viable, then how will we grow or how it is related? That's the reason I talked about first is planet, second is people, and third is economy. The third economy, goal number 8, works decent work and economic growth. When we do the construction, when we do the sustainable building design, of course, the new materials manufacturing comes up. It will create a jobs in that field. I'm not sure how many people are aware or you thought about during the college that you will make your career in the green building. I think most of the mechanical, electrical engineers, they always feel either they will go in automobile industry or some electrical related company, electric related. But please understand, this is a green market. There's a green jobs, energy efficiency business, lot of requirement in this area, lot of requirement, renewable energy. So it can create a jobs, skills, or transition to a low carbon economy that will happen in economy. It will boost our country economy as well. Goal number 9, industry, innovation, infrastructure. Because once we have a sustainable building material, we need sustainable building material industry. We need maximum industry in that area. And next 10 years, you will find that this is the only area where a lot of innovation will happen. A lot of industry will come up. So industry, innovation, infrastructure. Goal number 12 is responsible consumption and production. We need to take care, not only in the designing, when we do the construction of building. So it should be optimized resource use, zero waste to the landfill, or the support the regeneration of resources. And that is the goal number 12. And in the building operation, when the building is constructed, and we need to take care, the consumption should be responsibility. We have to take care of the consumption, whatever we are consuming in that. And goal number 17, again, because this is something is common in all three, but how the sustainable development goals by the United Nations, how it is related to the building resilience, for the human, for the economy, and for the planet. So of course, just reminding again all the goals, because out of 17, you can see that how many goals are related to the building sector and how many goals related to that how the building can impact in all of them. And that is the reason how sustainable building are the building resilience to the climate change for the people and economies as well. So just want to recall all those things for you. I want to show you this video. I'm sure this, just tell me if the video voice is coming or not. Vishesh?
Voice is not here, sir.
No, sir.
Not here. I'm just sharing again this screen because I think so it will come up. It is good
With
now?
climate change, natural disasters are on the rise.
Yes, we are good, sir.
Affecting the safety, habitability, and financial future of our cities and buildings. Rapidly urbanizing areas in developing countries are often the most vulnerable. A proactive, systemic approach to develop resilient buildings can improve the general standard of our built environment. The solution is Building Resilience Index, a hazard mapping, resilience assessment framework, and online platform that evaluates location-specific natural disaster-related risks for a real estate project or portfolio and provides the resilience solutions necessary for improvement. The first index of its kind, Building Resilience Index, provides a common language for various stakeholders, including developers, owners, financial institutions, investors, insurers, and governments. To assess, manage, and disclose the resilience of buildings. Let us be the architects of a more resilient future. We have all the solutions we need today through Building Resilience Index.
So this is something I want to share because this is already in some countries, the building resiliency has been started because a lot of earthquake and all these comes up. How building are resilient in that category. And that is something indexing should happen, because in future, insurance companies and all, if they have some kind of indexing already done, it will be the beneficial for that. And so what will be the benefit for the investing in resilience? The government, of course, lower cost of the disasters. Whatever we see the disaster related to climate change or related to the earthquake, related to anything, of course, safer and more resilient building. When we talk about financial institution like bank or everything who loans that property, lower investors' risk exposure, higher accountability in development projects, more transparency. Construction developers, of course, assess to best practices for resilient construction. Whenever they do the construction, it should be proper, follow those guidelines. So the chances of the disaster should be less, impact of the disaster should be less. And the property owners, lower operational disruption, higher credibility with the financials. And occupants, the increased safety of the building to hazards and ability to continue operations after the event. So sustainable goals, I want to remind again that good health and well-being. Please guys, if you are not aware, just go through the UN website. And this is something everyone is talking about, because is the hashtag building to COP26 is going on. So in the Glasgow, when this COP conference will happen, everyone talk about the sustainable development goals. Already from the first week of October, Dubai Expo is happening. And the theme of the Dubai Expo for the next initial 15 days on the climate change and sustainability only. And so good health and well-being, sustainable buildings and cities promote the human health by encouraging healthy lifestyles, protecting people from the harm across the building and construction lifestyles. Clean water and sanitation, very much important, because we are facing India as a country, because we know the 70% of the entire earth is water, but actually how much it is for the drinkable purpose. Only the 3% of entire earth water is a drinkable purpose. And we will be facing, because our population is growing, we are a country of 1.38 billion people, and everyone needs some water to drink. Everyone needs water for the resources to do a regular use for that. So, but we have a scarcity. We have seen in last few years, like Chennai has run out of the water, Shimla doesn't have the water. And in future, we will feel these issues in more and more. And that's the reason we need to focus on water reservation, like when we talk about the rainwater harvesting. Already there is a Catch the Rain by the government of India. There is a concept called Catch the Rain. If you are at home, please try to collect, do a rainwater harvesting at your home level. So whatever the water is coming through the rain, like Calcutta always have a lot of rain. Like I heard 2 days back also, there's a flight were cancelled because of the rain was happening too much. So try to capture or recharge that water in the earth. And that is something the building should do. Similarly, for the clean water, scarcity of the clean water is not there. We are talking about, because the chlorine level or TDS level is getting high and high day by day. So we need to increase the groundwater level, and that is something that every building should participate in that. Affordable and the clean energy. Of course, we need to understand 1 kWh of energy is emitting around 800 gram to 900 gram carbon emission in the environment. And if we utilize the same coal power plant, our future isn't actually dark. Our future generation, because I'm sure by 2050, the temperature will be rise 4 or 5 or 6 degrees. But if we do not act at this moment, that the future will be in dark. So we need to transition to the clean energy, either the renewable, either the solar, wind, hydro, but we need to move towards the clean energy. And that is right now happening in our country. Most of the corporates are going forward to take the energy from the clean sources, and where the zero carbon energy sources, they are trying to promote that. So clean, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, the construction of sustainable building, it can create a lot of jobs. During the pandemic, a lot of people lost their job. But if you look at the report by the International Energy Agency, they talk about it, that this is the only area where we can create a lot of jobs, because this is from the savings only. Energy efficiency can create 1 million of jobs in India as well, because there are a lot of new technologies which need to manufacture in India, which we are dependent on the different countries. If we do in India, we can create several jobs. And skill set like the sewage treatment plant or there's a green skill. There is a council of the green skill jobs also. Just go through the courses. that what actually are the green skills are which you need to understand. And you will see there's a lot of job opportunities in that area. And of course, it's the low carbon economy. Industry, innovation and infrastructures, sustainable building in cities, not only just for the building, it will create a lot of industries and innovation, which is happening. A lot of startups are coming up in the IT sector. We have seen that a lot of unicorns companies are coming up, but we need to understand any climate change related product. If you design or develop something which come up, I have seen some of the building materials like in the civil, because we are using the red brick or fly ash brick. But recently I came across with the one startup who are developing the entire recycled kind of material for the brick manufacturing, and the strength of that material was very high. And that kind of innovation required at this moment. So I would encourage to all of the young minds to think in that direction, because entire world will accept the sustainable product in future. Reduce inequalities, sustainable building protects human health, and of course, a standard of living across from quality employment and human rights for construction and material workers. So it is directly related to, because it will reduce the inequalities between the people, and of course, in operational building. Sustainable goal number 11, the sustainable cities and the communities. We have talked about more on that, because just when we create a building is not just a building, that entire city like Kolkata, I always give an example for Kolkata. In 7 years back, or Kolkata Municipal Corporation came up, entire municipal corporation came up with the extra FAR for the green building, which is a 10% extra area the developer can get as an incentive if they design or construct a green building. You can see the more than 100 projects. I think I would say a lot of projects are going on. 100 projects is already certified by several IGBC or GREHA or any other council, but this is the something we need to develop the system, because this is if the city thinks that I want to make my entire city as a green city or the clean city, like your new Kolkata development city, which is the Rajarad, or there is an entire city is a green building certified already by IGBC, and that is something the city level the people then think about it, and is provide the high quality housing and public infrastructure to all citizens. Responsible consumption and production. When we sustainable buildings are the circular economy. Right now, every industry is talking about the circular economy, because whatever we consume, how we are responsible for that. Because we do a lot of wastage, we need to understand the waste is a wealth, and how can we reduce the waste in our building, either in the construction or either in the operation. And that is something the responsible consumption and production goal number 12 by the United Nations comes up. Climate action, all things are related to that, because the the United Nations wants every country should have the indexing on that parameter, all the sustainable goals. And still India, because Niti Aayog is doing an indexing in India, and of course our country is still, I would not say that we are very good in that, but we are improving year to year in all these goals where we are working. So improve of clean energy use, sustainable cities. So this is how the resilience. Last, of course, the 15th one is life on land. Sustainable building provide access to nature for everyone, and nature-based solution that enhance resilience and support biodiversity, because not for the human, the people, other than people, the living beings, which are the species. Because if we are not able to, I think, save the species, that is the reason wildlife program and those program going on, because not only the human, the other species, which is the part of the ecosystem, it should be in that way. And 17th goal is the partnership for the goals. The partnership is very, very important. And that is the reason all the organizations are working toward the same mission, to make a sustainable India, to make a sustainable building. Not because when we create a building, we will create the city, we will create the state as sustainable, we will create the India as a sustainable country. So this is all from my side, guys, but building resilience is related to all these parameters. Try to have more details, and you can reach out to me on the LinkedIn also. This is my Ashok Gupta. You can find me, or just scan this. I think the barcode, you will get my link. Feel free to ask your question. I think we will have the 15-minute question and answer round. And if any questions coming in your mind related to your career, related to this in this industry, I would be more happy to answer that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful session. And now probably it's the right time for an interactive session. And now everyone, all of the participants, they can put up their questions. We have around 70 participants. Let's hope for around 10-15 questions, good questions that can be answered. Also, sir, on my part, I would love to take this opportunity to ask you my own questions. So probably putting forward, we are living in a socio-technical, technological environment, environmental nexus. So it's a combination of all three that we have talked about, like planet, people, and economics. So all three of them have to coexist. And what should be the right balance, and how should we be able to like keep a correct balance and achieve the sustainability goals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Vishesh, all three are very important tasks. When we talk about sustainability, it is not just the environment. It is not just the planet. It is the people and social also. And that is the reason I think or India is still negotiating in that way, because everyone is pressuring to reduce the net zero, net zero. India should be net zero or carbon neutral by 2050 or 2060 onwards. But the problem is that because we are a growing country, whoever taken the target, they are already developed countries. And in India is a huge pressure to develop also for people, for our human, for our social and economic growth as well. So but we have to make sure, because these small steps like making a green building or making any sustainable building, actually, we are not saying that 100% carbon emission will be zero. But I am sure some carbon emission we can reduce, because this is something, if we change in our methodology, in our designing, it can reduce something. So we have to enhance always all these parameters, because the economic growth is also required. If the pandemic was there 2 years, the growth was not happening. So we need to revive that economy also, because then the country will win. But we have to enhance all these parameters. We need to make sure the boundary in the global sector, because there is no boundary in the environment. If India will produce some carbon emission, the impact on the Sri Lanka or impact on the Bangladesh will also happen. And that's the international pressure is coming.
Yes, sir. Now we have one question from Niranjan Khatri. Anything being done about labor living standards in Project Colony? Have you thought of platinum standards for them?
First of all, sir, Niranjan sir, good to have you in this. I think I was not expecting you, because Niranjan sir is one of the pioneers in this industry, because I followed him in my start of the age of the career. So first of all, thank you so much, Niranjan sir, for joining this and listening me. And I think you pointed correctly very well, sir. I think this is something for the labor living standard. The green building certification programs they have some points there, that if you have given the proper project colony or proper basic amenities you need to provide, you will get some point. But if there is not something, any standard right now. And that is something I think, Niranjan sir, I would like to hear from you, because you are the pioneer in this industry and we are following you. So sir, your thought, please. I cannot see you, sir. I think if possible, I think Vishesh, you can unmute him.
Yes, sir.
Can you see me now?
Yes, sir. I can see you, sir. I can see you.
Good to see you, Ashu.
I
did not hear your answer regarding labor colony, because we talk so much about 17 indicators, but if we cannot do basic hygiene, basic ventilation, then I think we are a long way off from green building movement, because the people who make the green building are not getting that experience. So it's a very paradoxical situation, and not enough attention has been given to this. I've been talking about this for many years, and I've failed successfully.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. I think this is something more focus is required in that direction. And I totally agree, because the labor hutment, whenever we see during the construction in the building, this is not happens actually. So more and more improvements, sir. I think your guidance and support always required, because you are pretty active in all the councils and I have seen you. So that I think this is something need to happen.
And such great opportunities to spread green ideas through your workers which have not been tapped. And I'm not asking you to spend money on them.
Right.
I'll just give you a simple example of giving ideas to them on starting bank of nutrition when they go back to their villages. All of them bunk for 2 months for harvesting or some other purpose to their villages, right? So if you create a bank of simple ideas relevant for the villages, you will change India completely. because, this green building movement is going on for the last 18 years or so.
Right.
And we in India must raise the standard instead of always copy pasting the Western standards. Okay. And we have not leveraged this opportunity, but I'll have a separate chat with you because we need young leaders like you to take it forward. Okay.
Thank you so much, Niranjan sir. I think I want to also, take a liberty to tell about yourself, because the Niranjan sir is one of the person who always interact with the young startups, and I interacted with him after his retirement, one of the most prestigious company who is working in sustainability, and he always loved to interact with the startups companies to give the ideas related to the sustainability also. And I think he given me a food of thought for the future also. So thank you so much, sir, for interacting.
Awesome. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Niranjan sir. Thank you so much, Ashish sir. Probably we are running short on time, so we need to wind up the session. May I now request Payal ma'am or Gunjan Kumar sir to please give the closing remark.
Can I have just token a few questions from participants so that they feel appreciated? Just a few questions from the students.
Sure.
So right.
Yes, sir. We have one question from Abhishek Jha. Is there any disadvantage of sustainable development goal on nature?
So Abhishek, I think I don't find any disadvantage of the sustainable development, because it always, of course, whenever we do the comparison with anything, might be the people always say the sustainable development is the cost increase, the cost happens there, or cost get increased also of the project, but it is not actually true. And it is the people, a lot of people, like I can see another question from the Abhishek Jha only, that why do the green building cost more than traditional building? That is not actually true, Abhishek. I want to highlight again, because when 2001, the green building movement started, that time the cost was, of course, high. The reason behind it, the cost of solar, cost of LEDs, cost of new technologies were high. But when we talk about the 2020 India or 2021 in India, these technologies we are manufacturing in India, and a lot of players are there, and cost has got reduced. Because please understand, if you're building the green building, when we say the 30% efficient, if your entire load is coming 1000 kilowatt, that means it should come the 700 kilowatt. The initial cost of the transformer, initial cost of the DG set, initial cost of the wiring will get already reduced. So green building actually, when we do the proper integration of the consultant, architects and everyone, the cost get reduced, not the increase in that. So traditional building was actually increasing. So now these days it is part of the compliances, and we have to do that. So that is I think I covered your both answers. There is no disadvantages and there is no cost more than the traditional buildings. So this is just a myth, and people need to more aware that how I can reduce the cost of the building design.
Yes, sir. Also, sir, there's another question that can be catered. If material play a very important role in energy saving, other than just designing, what material should be suggested to be used in building built today?
So basically materials are changing. I would say everyone is talking about now embodied energy also. During the construction of the material, how much energy that material consumed in extraction, in transportation, in manufacturing. And we need to talk only the low carbon embodied energy materials. And now these days, entire world is talking about, like we did one of the biggest company recently, we made an embodied energy report, and we highlighted what materials, because when we make a brick, red clay brick, how much the carbon emission the red clay brick has. And if we replace with the fly ash brick, or if we replace with the AAC block, or if we replace with the low emitting materials, are these coming. Similarly, in the insulation material, because energy saving, earlier we were making the 1 meter thick wall. Now we can make some wall material and some insulation material. The heat will is coming from the sun. It can reduce by that, because of that. So there are the materials in the civil materials, when we talk about the civil related, a lot of new technologies are coming up, and we can go through the insulation, multiple product in insulation, XPS, extruded polystyrene, EPS, expanded polystyrene, and everything. So all are related to that. So I think the time is limited, but of course, Muskan, you can send me a message on LinkedIn or on my email ID. I will revert back to you on that. So I can see the Gunjan sir message also. The new event is also going to start by 5:30.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions. Now, sir, please, may I request Gunjan, sir, to please give the closing remark?
So thank you. I think Asu sir is always with one lecture opening so many dimensions and inviting every participant to a lot of food of thought. Sir has given a lot of, in fact, food of thought and also the collaboration opportunities in days to come regarding the COP26 that is coming. So as a student and participant, you can explore more, and sir, powerful energy is always radiating. I'm sure every student gets charged enough to having a more such session from Asu sirs. In fact, sir is going to be a jury member in our upcoming next session, that is the Energy Conservation Automation Challenge. Also, I want to extend my sincere thanks to Payal Jain ma'am for blessing all the students, Yatendra Jain sir for in fact providing this opportunity for all the students, and of course the face of the day, Mr. Vishesh, who is I can say the young generation. You are, I can say, the role model for every student in days to come. So with this note, we are very much thankful to the Prem Chand Memorial Trust and all the associates, including the IGBC, for such a golden opportunity. And also I want to extend this invitation to join all of us in upcoming next session that is also supported by the Prem Chand Trust Memorial only. They have given us the 2 jury members. You know what we have learned and we have taken a knowledge. Now you will feel happy that a student is going to practice and you know, as a teacher, I always feel let they allowed to make a mistake so that the industry person like the Asu Gupta sir and Ashish Jain sir come here and correct them. So with this opportunity, with this note, I am closing here. Thank you. Thank you, Vishesh. Thank you, Yatendra. Thank you, Payal ma'am. Thank you, Prem Chand Memorial Trust for such a visionary approach to nurture the young generation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Just one closing remark that I would love to add. That would be probably we are looking forward to more GAs like green ambassadors to join the team. At present, we have a team of 15 green ambassadors, 10 to 15 green ambassadors pan India who have been very active, and we have been driving it thoroughly. We have included many events which can be seen on the Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms, social media platforms. We would love to know how many people would be there to join us with the team. And Manoj is asking how to join the Green Ambassador. It's simple. Get in touch with your faculty. Get in touch with us through mail or through the contact number that is provided on the website. And we'll love to have you as a part of the Green Ambassador team. Considering this to be the end of the session, may I now request Yatin sir to if we can close the session now. Okay, let's consider to be this the end of the session. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Vishesh. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.